Very good morning, Scanner members. Jared Johnson here. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day and a good week. I do have to say, it's been pretty ridiculously slow in the markets for the last week or so. There's been little tiny movements here and there, but really slow, really slow. And we're hoping to get a little more life into some of these trades. But things are moving along. They're kind of coming along. So we'll just keep at it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our current trades we've got running. We've got this Swiss yen that's actually looking pretty good. We had, the Swiss yen will be an interesting one between, yen safety and Swiss franc safety. So markets are a little panicked right now, but it looks like the Swiss franc's winning the battle at the moment, which is good because we've got some Swiss yen buy trades in. I talked about these two levels, 108.75, 108.40, where I kind of wanted to see what happened here. For anybody that has just joined the group, if you have not participated, this trade's been running for a little while. It's been really, really slow. You can see that this has just been, not doing a whole lot for a whole for quite a while here. But it's starting to move a little bit. If you're just joining us, get in on this Swiss yen. Start small and be prepared to kind of scale into this trade, but we're looking for this kind of movement right here. We're looking to trade this thing up. Remember, we've got some great targets up at this monthly pivot at 110.15 area. Then we have a weekly pivot, 3 consecutive daily pivots. We've got some great upper targets that I'm really excited to trade up into. So, this had a nice downtrend here, broke out, kind of retested things, has made another short little downtrend, and it's kind of trying to break out, but it's not making new lows. It held on to support there at 108.40. It's doing good. So it's a great area to kind of buy the breakout, start small, trade this up to 110 with us. Grab 100 pips out of it. Shouldn't be too hard, but it's just slow. Now this started off as a scanner trade. You can see, we had some bar counts over here. It started off as that, and then, it's hit the bar counts, but still the targets have not all been hit. And so that's why we're staying with this trade, and that's why I'm recommending anybody in the scanner group that's not in it, jump in on this breakout. Let's jump in on this breakout. We're already in this trade, but for those that have not participated or are just joining in on the group, you can jump in on this breakout and take it right on up with us. Okay, so that's Swiss yen. It's cruising along okay, looking all right. We've got our Aussie CAD trade that's coming okay here. Our first entry was, again, a high bar count, some good targets. We got in at 94.30, and then we got in again at 92.75. So you can see the second position's up about 50 pips. First position's down about 100 pips. So we're kind of in that, 50 pip drawdown area. Remember, our second entries are always bigger than our first entries, so we should be a little bit closer to break even than not. But that is Aussie CAD. That's kind of how everything's looking and going and working and functioning and so on. It's just moving along. I won't be too surprised to see this thing kind of pull back and maybe hit that weekly pivot. That might need to happen. One thing that I suggested is locking in some profit on this 92.75. Lock in, whatever amount of profit you need to kind of cover the trade. You can lock in 10, 15, 20 pips profit. Don't lock in too much profit, though, because we want to give this thing as much room as possible to kind of wiggle and move around. Our second entry is basically right at that weekly pivot. So let's just kind of keep that in mind. We can always lock in a little bit of profit. If it gets taken out, it's probably going to run to that weekly pivot, and we can just get right back in at 92.75. But I like Aussie CAD long. I think it's a great trade. I think everything looks awesome here. Let's stay with this, and we're looking to trade this up into 9,400 market imbalance weekly pivot area at the very least. Which, if we get up there, that's 125 pips profit on this, and we'll be right around 15, 20 pips loss on our first entry. But again, our second entry is bigger, so we'll be in some great profit by the time it gets up to that 9,400. So that's Swiss yen, that's Aussie CAD, and then again we put a pending order here. Speaking of CAD pairs, we put a pending order on New Zealand CAD. We're looking to get in on this thing down around some dips. You can see that entry here, right in this vicinity. Here is the New Zealand CAD trade. So we've got a good bar count. We've got some good things in the works. Looking at 87.65. Now this is coming down a little bit. We're seeing some Aussie, or excuse me, some CAD strength right now. Oil's kind of picking up the pace a little bit, and we've seen that directly reflected over here on these CAD pairs. So I'm probably going to move this entry down. It's about 10 pips away from our entry. I bet we could probably get this a little bit lower. My idea was get in at 65 and then get in again at a double bottom around 8,700. But maybe we just give this a little bit longer and try to get in closer to that 8,700. So I'm going to adjust the entry on New Zealand CAD. Remember, one of the big reasons of the entry is obviously we've got some great upper targets. Everything's looking really, really good up there. And we've got a pretty rare, pretty unheard of, unseen bar count here on the 4-hour chart. So we're up at 258 bars on the 4-hour chart, which is huge. So we're going to let this thing dip down a little bit more. We'll buy into it at a slightly lower price than what we had that pending order at 87.65. We'll buy in, maybe around 87.25 area, get a little bit closer to those lows. And that'll give us a really, really good entry. I feel really good about that. Okay, as far as the scanner goes, like I said, this is pretty uncommon to see things be this slow. It's just been a really, really slow run. Nothing's moving, nothing's kind of breaking out, nothing's following through, yada, yada. So the bar counts on the 4-hour charts are looking pretty interesting. We're taking this New Zealand CAD trade because, we look for about 250 bars on the 4-hour chart, and we've got that and then some. We've also got New Zealand dollar. We don't want to overexpose ourselves there, so we'll stick with that New Zealand CAD for the moment. 1-hour charts, things are kind of trying to creep, but they're mostly pound related. Pound dollar, euro pound, pound Swiss are giving us the high 1-hour bar counts. We don't really trade pound pairs because they're a little messy. Pound Aussie on the 30-minute chart, same thing. Pound pairs are kind of just tricky. We'll keep an eye. I don't know if the pound pairs really make a big move and we have some really ridiculous bar counts. Maybe we'll look at something, but doubt it. So just putting that out there. 15-minute charts, we're getting a little bit of a bar count on the euro dollar, so that'll be something worth looking at. Aussie New Zealand be something worth looking at. Those are still a couple of days out before there's trading opportunities. Euro Aussie, we're keeping an eye on that. So we've got some bar counts on the 15-minute chart that are starting to get a little bit interesting. 5-minute charts, the highest bar count right now that we have is the Euro CAD. But the good thing about this Euro CAD is it's quite a few pips away from the moving average. So if we look at the Euro CAD, you can see this thing's dropping pretty heavy. We'll watch this 5-minute chart and just kind of see how far down this thing goes. We don't really have any super good targets at the moment. A couple of things that we want to make sure of, as always, is that we're trading against strong levels, and our strong level is really down. Oops. Is kind of down in this area. Where'd my line go? There we go. Down in this area here, around 149, 15, 20. So this thing's really going to need to drop for me to feel interested in jumping into this. And again, we don't have any, real major market imbalances yet. This guy is looking interesting. That's a nice little level at 150.18, so that's going to be something to keep an eye on. We don't have any missed pivots or anything up here, which is kind of odd. So we'll watch this as it kind of approaches that missed pivot down there, and as that bar count gets a little bit better, and we'll see where this thing goes. But seeing a little bit of CAD strength for sure at the moment. And that's kind of how we're watching everything. But we're going to let this Aussie CAD, or excuse me, this New Zealand CAD dip a little bit lower. We're going to move that pending order. We're going to stick with our Swiss yen. That's hopefully giving us some good breakouts. We're seeing some yen movement here, which is good. Aussie CAD's going to pull back a little bit because we're seeing some CAD movement, but not too, nothing too crazy. We're just kind of letting this play out, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, guys, that's the update for this morning. That's what we're watching, looking at, going for, and we will leave it at that, and more details come. Thanks, everybody.